Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Longbangers Thursday phone in association with Leith Spirits. I think we've got a busy night ahead of us now, I think we'll just dive straight into things. Right, I was going to start off with the game on Saturday, 2-2 with Dundee, but then stuff happened with Elie Youan today, which I think we'll talk about. But before we go into that, I got a message for Joe Leslie on our Facebook page earlier on today. If you don't know, we've got a Facebook page. We have got a Facebook page, and you can go and follow us on there. I don't know how many folks still use Facebook these days, though. It's like every time I go on, it just gets shitter and shitter. And the other thing I noticed with Facebook is you've got like however many friends on it, and believe it or not, do have some. Um, I never see anything in the post. It's sort of like crap that you get on it. So, um, right, that's not what I was wanting to talk about. Anyway, Joe Leslie says this one is for the phone in if it's on tonight, which is, as Hibs fans, do we analyse the players, team, and coaching staff far too intensely, so much so that they can't relax in their jobs and perform as we know they are capable of? Well, we definitely don't do that on the podcast. Like, we don't analyse anything. Who's got a view on this that wants to go first?
I'll go first. I mean, yes, it's not our. I don't think it's our place to actually critique in a way that they were always saying that we shouldn't do, because a lot of people just slag off players. But the thing that surprises me is there doesn't seem to be any individual coaching going on at Hibs. So in other words, players that make a mistake just in their everyday play seem to keep on making it. If they're weak in a certain aspect of their game, they seem to continue that. And the classic case was, of course, Dylan Benty. Dylan was notorious for always taking up the wrong position. So I just wondered, considering that football was meant to be ongoing development, and certainly when I was coaching, everyone had their individual development points. And it all surprises me that individual players don't seem to make improvements on aspects of the game that to us seem really obvious.
So you saying more analysis is needed, Ian? There should be more and not less. Is this where you're going with that?
Yeah, absolutely. There should be more analysis. It was pointless, obviously, us analysing it. I don't think there's any point in us analysing it. So for instance, I always thought that we should have at least two people that were capable of doing long throws. I mean, I taught long throws. I taught diving headers. The first diving header we've had for years happened just last week, and that's the first time since Jimmy Rook.
Keith Houchin. Oh no, he did his for he did his for Coventry. He didn't even do it at Hibs, did he?
That's right. But no, I just think, obviously, from our perspective, us looking at individual players and saying they didn't do that or they should do more of that, that's kind of pointless. And I don't think it gets us anywhere. But I think that there should be one-to-one coaching for development on an ongoing basis. People develop as individuals and as players until they're quite mature.
Sorry, it'd not be a case that'd be the quietest job at Hibs at the moment, because we've only got one or two strikers. I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying, but you've only got Rico and Bowie at the moment, who are out-and-out strikers. So would Hibs want to be, I know it's not a waste money on a coach totally focusing on that?
Remember, what we're talking about here is not being a striker. What we're talking about here is finishing. Okay, so finishing is a skill in itself, and finishing is something you can teach. And obviously, you might have 7 or 8 people who you want to teach finishing. So in other words, don't blast the ball. Side foot it into the corner. We always taught pass the ball into the net, right? And obviously we've got some players who try blasting the ball, etc. But no, finishing is a skill. Finishing is a technique, and there's a lot more than 2 people in our team.
If you watch them, the warm up, I mean, you can see them putting it top corner. They say everyone's a screamer. Put in the same position during the game.
You're not watching the same warm-up as me, James. I watched the warm-up and nothing goes in the top corner of the famous 5, maybe, but... I'm going to bring John. John, you got your hand up there.
No, it's acknowledging what's been said there. In terms of the question asking, do we overanalyse? I would rather that we were sitting down as fans having a discussion about how the Saturday went, than some random picking numbers between 1 and 10 and putting it in a Sunday Mail article. I mean, has that been the only public criticism or whatever what was going on? And the fanzines, sort of the 90s on, sort of changed how fans worked with the clubs. I mean, it would have been a discussion in the pub beforehand, became a bit more public through the fanzines. And we've now got, I think we've got a fairly positive in terms of the podcast scene. I mean, right down to the third and fourth best ones. I mean, are doing a good job. And I think there's a fairness in there. Generally on social media, I think is a different question. So it depends where he's coming from. If the question is, do we have fans who overreact on social media and bring whatever problems they've got in life, you know what I mean, and direct them in terms of the frustration through what comes there? Yes. You know what I mean, I don't think we're unique in that. But in terms of the analysis of the players, I think it's better that the fans are doing it, and I think it's slightly more balanced.
Fair point. Right, let's move on to the Dundee game on Saturday. Let me bring Shay. I'll bring you in first. What were your thoughts on the game on Saturday, mate?
Better attacking wise, I think we were creating more chances. I think Nicky Cadden looked good in terms of the early crosses, a couple of things in the first half. But I think defensively, I'm not sure if it's good attacking from Dundee or pure defending from Hibs. So I'm trying to take it as a bit of both. So I tried to watch the highlight. I watched the highlights before it came on, and I thought for the first goal, I think I seen the still image of Lewis Miller sitting on the edge of the box.
Yeah.
I thought maybe Joe Neal could have been a bit better at scanning on his shoulder, because I think by the looks of it, he was the closest to the player that scored. But at the same time, shouldn't the defenders should be in the box to cover for the midfielders who have maybe got the better passing to counter attack?
Yeah.
But I think Boyle took his free kick well. Except for the deflection was alright to take it in, but still was a good goal. And Bowie, I thought he was good as well. The last couple of weeks he came on, he scored. I thought he's looked to be a good player. So I'm hoping is he injured or is he coming back from injury and that's why he's not starting? Or
It was a wee bit behind in his pre-season from where the rest of the team is, but I think I certainly said after the game that he felt he was match fit now. So hopefully we'll see him starting soon. What I suppose just before we move on, there was a lot of chat about the late substitution at the end. What were your thoughts there? Could you see the logic in it?
Yeah, and no, I can see why we done it in terms of I think we were trying to keep on to the lead by doing it more defensively, but at the same time, I would rather have seen us go 2 goals ahead. I'm all for a win's a win. I'll take it however way we get it, even if it's 1 goal or whatever. But at the same time, I'd rather have even took off one of our centre halves than a striker.
Yeah.
Unless Miko was tired, obviously, but I don't think I've seen Rocky get attacked a couple of times on Twitter, but I don't think he was actually at fault for the goal. I don't think it was a good goal to concede.
I don't think Rocky had any real part to play in the goal that we conceded. I think you're really looking at Ahora, aren't you, really, for no catching Murray's run. Lee, I'll bring you in just now. Thanks, Shay. Lee, what were your thoughts after the draw on Saturday?
Well, I thought we played quite well the first half. The attacking seemed quite well. Boyle played a bit better than the last couple of weeks, and his goal was a pretty good goal. But he's starting to play a bit better now. But the last couple of weeks he hadn't played too well. But Bowie, he looks a player. He looks quite a good player. His goal was quite good. So hopefully, with him getting him in the team would be good to get some goals. And you've got Miko as well to help lay off the goals to him. So yeah, it seems quite good. But the defending, they're a bit suspect, but they play quite the defending, but Lewis Miller's played quite well. But for the 2 goals, I thought the first goal couldn't really do much, but for the second goal, I thought that O'Hara just couldn't catch Simon Murray and got into the box and basically they couldn't do anything after that. I just thought it was a bit bad defending for O'Hara.
So we'd had a couple of bad results going into the game.
Yeah.
Lee, did you feel more or less positive after the game about how the rest of the season might go?
Yeah, I felt like we played a bit better and it was a bit positive than the last couple of games that we've played. So hopefully with that we can kick on and try and get some results.
Definitely. Jeff, you had your hand up. Thanks, Lee.
Just took myself off on mute. Just a different viewpoint. I was sitting with an ex-pro on Saturday, and it was interesting to see his point. He's absolutely no skin in the game.
Oh, sorry, Jeff. I've just put you on mute. I was,
okay?
yeah. Sorry, I was trying to lower your hand, and
all right, okay.
If
you don't want me to say anything, it's fine, Matthew. It's fine.
I've cut you off in your prime there. Just totally clicked the wrong button. There we go. Great. Sorry.
Just
one of the amateurs dealing with this.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So sitting with an ex-pro, no skin in the game, and it was interesting to get his take. He said the first 20 minutes, a bit like Celtic, he said Dundee really went for it. You know, they were all over the place. And he said they couldn't keep that up for the whole game. He noticed after about 20, 30 minutes, we came back into it. We weathered the storm apart from the one defensive mistake, which everyone knows what went on there. I'm not going to labour that point. And we were on top in the second half. You could only see one winner when it was 2-1. But like everyone else, when we made the sub, he said, I understand why he's made it, but perhaps that's going to bite him on the arse. And, he was quite right. I've listened to a few other pods slagging Hibs off defending. If you watch some of the Dundee defending during the game, it's hilarious, but the ball never dropped to a Hibs player. That was the difference as well. They were shite at the back.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that was the point I was making there. It was interesting to hear someone else's. When my green tinted specs on, I could only see one winner at 2-1. And even my mate could see that as well. That was the point I wanted to make.
Yeah, I felt the same. I thought I wish we'd started the first half like we started the second. I kind of expected us to kick the game off like that because of I don't want to use like the word magnitude of the game because I think it over-eggs it when you're 3 games into the season. But this was like the chance for us to kickstart the season, and Dundee got off to a flyer, and we looked really flat. And I think if we had started the way that we did in the second half, we would have pumped them.
Do you think it's something to do with nerves in front of the home crowd? Because we are a very nervous crowd at the moment. As soon as something goes wrong, it's the boo boys come out, and I'd like to slap every one of them for booing. Just it doesn't help the team, only helps the opposition. Don't know what they're thinking about.
Maybe that
explains it. But Dundee certainly came out the traps. They had a plan, absolutely flying, but they couldn't keep the pace up. Simple as that. A bit like Celtic. Celtic get two-goal lead, then they sit back and maybe get a third one when they feel like
it. Colin, I'll bring you in if you bring yourself off your mute. Welcome to the phone in. What were your thoughts on the game on Saturday? Just quickly try to get off the mute. You'll get there. Or not. There you go. Oh no, we still can't hear you, Colin.
Here we go.
There we go. That's you.
Can you hear me now?
We're in.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. I always listen to the podcast and I always go, see these idiots who didn't know how to turn themselves off mute. Like, this is me. I mean, I would say like the number of like new players that we have, if you look at that squad, it's like I think there was maybe like 6 or 7 in the starting lineup. Like if you're going into a job and you've got like 70% of the people have just started like 2 weeks ago, are you going to know exactly, what everyone's going to be doing? And, football it's different from going into an office. It's obviously you need to work in that system. But I think the way that we're kind of progressing, the way that we're kind of maturing game on game, is positive. I'm not saying it's wonderful, but I could definitely see things are getting better. Like Bowie looks like a player. I think Vaughan had a solid start. Nicky Cadden, it's got something about him. So it's positive. If you look at, say, back to the Lee Johnson start when we had, Jair and Kenna, and we had like 4 or 5 players coming in, you're like, you boys have never played first team football in your life, and you're now supposedly first team stars for Hibs. It's yeah, I would say it's positive.
And I suppose like everybody focused on. I know we did like that. Your initial reaction is always like because it's disappointing to lose a late goal. You kind of focus on the negatives and stuff like that. But a couple of good goals, and as Jeff was saying, and Shay, when it was 2-1, it looked like there was only going to be one winner. Do you think this is something that, like everybody was talking Dundee up? Is this something that Hibs should be taking confidence from going into the game against Killie on Sunday?
I think so. I mean, if you look at Dundee, they'd scored an absolute bucket load. They absolutely thrashed Hearts. Do you know what I mean? They were full of confidence, and they're an okay side, but they've got a lot of confidence, and that'll get you, so far. I think going into the Kelly game, we just need to go look. They're where we were last year with, the Europe on a Thursday, game on a Sunday, and it just kills you. Like the momentum just ruins you. I think we really need to exploit that, and we need to get them early doors, and I think it'll pay dividends, but we'll see.
Cool. Tracy, I'll bring you in next, and then I'll come to Jack after that. And, I don't know who was out here for James and Ian for about the game. So, Tracy, thoughts on Saturday's game?
Yeah, I wasn't at the game, only saw the highlights because my eldest was on our last show at the Fringe.
Well done for her.
Yeah, we standing ovation as well. Give her a wee nod. So watched the highlights, obviously had seen a lot of what people were saying on social media as well. And obviously I think there was a bit of overreacting as well, just because it was a draw. Obviously watching the highlights, we should have gone on and won it. But I think, there were so many positives to take from it as well. I always think if you can't take any positives, that's when you're struggling big time. But obviously to come back after being a goal down, which is something we've struggled with as well, I thought that was really positive. And then the way obviously we started the second half, I thought was great as well. So again, positives. I think Bowie's going to be an absolute excellent player for us. Just as Colin, not that one, said, was agreeing with a lot of his points. We've got a lot of new players, especially when you're playing in defence as well, and you've got a new goalkeeper. It's not like Schmeichel, and we've brought in a Kasper Schmeichel that has played at such a high level.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of trust that goes in playing in defence and that with your goalkeeper. So they've got that to build, as do the other players as well. So it is going to take a bit of time. We've got to give them that time, but I think the fact that we can see the improvements as well is certainly a positive.
I think you made a good point about coming back for a goal down, Tracy, because I don't think we really spoke about that angle when, I'm pretty sure we never when we recorded on Sunday night, but Hibs have been notoriously bad at coming back from a goal down in recent times. Like we lose a goal, the heads go. And it almost happened again on Saturday. I mean, if it wasn't for like the tightest of offside decisions, the correct decision, you give the defence credit for playing a good line.
Are we celebrating VAR?
Listen, we have I don't name them because I think that's fair to do, but there's a guy that did follow us on Twitter until we pointed out that VAR had done well to get a decision right in a game one night, and he was so outraged that we had something positive to say about VAR that he took to Hibsnet to slaughter us, unfollowed us, and he went slandering us about being anti-football and loving VAR. We're like, I didn't love VAR. I just pointed out that it worked. Like it did what it was meant to do on that one occasion. But VAR also, like it did work. It stopped us going 2-0 down, got the correct decision, and it was almost like it could have been a sliding doors moment in the game, really. I think if we'd gone 2-0 down, because of the way the crowd were at that point as well, because we're already kind of getting on the back of the goalkeeper and stuff like that, If we'd gone 2-0, I think it would have been a really, really long way back for that. But instead, we went 2-1 up. So we saw this. We saw the strength of character for the team there, and obviously we saw there's some fragility because we conceded right at the end. What do you take from that then? Like how do you assess Hibs' character on the basis of that match? You've got the yin and the yang there of it.
Yeah, I think it's getting better, their confidence. It's going to take time. I think you've got a mixture of new players who are obviously, as I say, trying to build that trust with other players, trying to learn more about them, their positions. And then you're kind of mixed with some players who have probably been battered psychologically over the past few years, the ones that have been there for a while, different managers, come in with their different ideas, supporters on their backs constantly criticising. So yeah, I think it's just a mixture, but I think Dave will pull that out of them. And as I say, you can see the improvement. I mean, there's no many teams that, okay, you've had a bad start, but then you've got to go and play Celtic 2 weeks in a row. I mean, it's just the worst possible start that you could ask for. So yeah, improvements. So we got a draw. At least we didn't lose. I think that's the main thing. And I think it sets us up good for Sunday.
Thank you, Jeff. You got your hand up. I don't nearly said you've got your hand up there, but there's connotations. The sentence "you've got your hand up there" could be taken a number of different ways. So I have to try and catch myself and not say, "Oh, Jeff, you've got your hand up there," because
Just say, "Jeff, you've got your hand up."
Yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Yeah.
Bit of advice to you from a TV expert, honestly. Just very quickly on the game again. One thing I did notice, I watched the highlights because at the game, you get a feel for it, obviously, but you miss bits. Like Dundee's second goal, I was changing my glasses, and I just saw the ball hit the net. I thought, what the chuff happened there? Anyway, what I did notice on the highlights was the lack of Hibs players hitting the box when we did break. I don't know if anyone else has mentioned it, but the one when Boyle broke in the second half, there was only Miko anywhere near the box. And what struck me was Rudy, I don't know if he was injured or just knackered, he was just strolling towards the box. No one else was making a run. Whereas when Dundee broke, they had 4 or 5 players all busting the gut. Now, I don't know what the answer is to that, or whether they've been told not to. I don't know whether it was just desire. But that's something that was a wee bit worrying from the game. But overall, I was quite satisfied, apart from the last minute.
We spoke about that at the games. I was talking to Josh about it. I think it was the second or third time Dundee came forward, and they're 4 in the box.
Yeah.
I say, look at this, Josh. Look at the effort that they've made to get into the box, and then watch when the ball goes up the other end.
Yeah.
And we were having crosses getting fired into the box, and there's nobody there for them. And you don't know if it's a tactical thing or a work rate thing, or just where it falls down. But I thought we got better at that in the second half. It's certainly, like if you look at some are playing the second half, we definitely seem to have a bit more desire to get into the box. But it's a good point you make, Jeff. Jack, I'll bring you in, mate. How were you feeling at full time on Saturday about the game?
No, the happiest. A bit like most of the Hibs fans in there. I could hear the frustration and tensions in the stadium.
And what was your assessment of the game?
I'd say the defence for the first goal was poor, because I'm in the famous 5, so you can see the mess that they were in, and it was too easy. Just the way that the Dundee player managed to get through. Could have done better, but I'd say the goalkeeper was frustrating to watch on Saturday as well. When we were 1-0 down, they keep taking ages to kick the ball out. I don't know what that was all about. So,
do you think that this was because we commented about that on the podcast as well, Jack? And you've got so I thought there was one point the crowd were on his back before he'd even got the ball.
Yeah, true. I noticed that.
He's not even got it in his hands, and he's getting told to hurry up. Short of wrestling the ball off the ball boy. I'm not sure what else he could have done to speed it up. But
you could hear.
There's a bit of conflict between, if that's what the tactic is to kind of go and put the ball down and work out where you're going to hit it, and then hit it, then it's all right. It probably doesn't help if the crowd are rushing him. What do you think? We're 1-0 down, still quite early in the first half. Do you think that's the time to be panicking and speeding things up, or is it still okay to just sort of play the game that you were going to play?
No, I'd say you'd probably want to try and find that equaliser more sooner rather than later, because then anything could happen in between that, like especially with the Dundee goal that got chopped off. If that didn't get chopped off, then we're in a bit of a pickle.
What did you think of Bowie's goal?
Oh, brilliant. That was great. I was jumping up and down in the stand seeing that.
Well, what have you thought so far about Bowie as a player?
Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the players that will do well for us. Maybe get a lot of goals, possibly, if he gets assets that will help him with that, because I think he'll do really well.
It looks a handful.
Yeah,
James, not here for you yet on the game. What were your thoughts on it? What did you take away?
Trying to cover everything else has been said. I think confidence is lacking. I think it's going to be a bit of a long haul. I don't think we're going to see, even if we don't get any more players, the best of this team until maybe end of October, hardly any games in September. I just think it's going to take time to gel, as it's been already touched on. A number of players we've brought in, probably more coming in. That's going to take time to kind of put together. In the game Saturday, a couple of things. I thought Quan and Youan were kind of tripping over each other. This is just he's only been in the door 2 days, so I'm not going to pick on anyone specifically, but I think they need to decide who's going to be the one who's going to drop back and take the ball off the goalkeeper and build. Do we need two? Sorry, Hearts nearly conceded. Do we really need two players dropping down like that? Do we need two centre defensive midfielders for games against that? Do we be more attacking against our main rivals? I mean, Rangers, Aberdeen, Hearts, yeah, we may want a bit more defence, a bit more structured, but maybe the games, especially at home, I would rather we went kind of two up top with one sitting midfielder. It's changed my 4-4-2 from last week, but I just feel one's enough in there, be either Newell or Quan if he comes onto a game.
Just as a point of order there, James, you've listed Aberdeen, Celtic, Rangers, and Hearts there. Hearts haven't won a game since the 11th of May. They do not belong in that group.
It's a derby, you know what they're like. That's all they live for is that game. So that'll be the first win probably on our luck.
Were you feeling better about the team than you were after the Celtic games?
It was more against a team that we should be beaten. I mean, it's a home game. I was disappointed in the result, but I'm kind of fairly calm because I am letting the team gel. I mean, I've got the patience. Still not annoyed. I still don't want to see us lose or draw. I still want to see us win every bloody game, but I'm happy with the way the team is going. Some players I still don't think are right, unfortunately. I thought Cadden was blowing out his arse very early. I mean, he's tracking back. He was just kind of sauntering. Like I said, Dundee were piling players into the box, and at one point, Cadden's just kind of sauntering back, and the guys are running back. But these are minor wee things, and it's again his fitness isn't there. He's not had any pre-season with any clubs. I'm letting these things go.
Yeah.
I'm not panicking. His crossing is excellent. It's just crazy how he's got his twin on the other side, who's right-footed and puts in crosses, and he does exactly the same with his left foot. But only thing can't be changed about Cadden is his pace. I don't think he's got the pace we need for a winger. I think we need our little Elie back, and I hope he comes back and just gives it his all and just shows everybody. But I know we'll touch on that later.
Aye, we'll come on to that. So, John, did you? I can't remember if you spoke to us about your overall thoughts on the game. I know you kind of contributed a wee bit, but
I think the substitution, I would probably have rather had a midfielder on, but I'm not sure that Amos is the one that I would have chosen. So when you go to that idea that when you're bringing on that sub, who was available at the time? I'd rather Levitt was there on the bench rather than Amos, but that's just personal preference. You know what I mean? I think the point that it gave their centre backs more space to come up the pitch is just because of the goal. I mean, I thought that we were caught out by a quick move and a striker that was playing in the channel between a centre and a left centre back. I mean, because if you see it when McCowan's got the ball, he's nowhere near O'Hora, and the reason O'Hora gets caught out is he doesn't know he's there, because watching the ball go down the line, that's when he's made his move. I mean, and he's inside him. That's why I've got slightly more forgiveness for O'Hara and that, because it's a mistake, but it's a mistake caused by an outside of the boot pass that's been played on first time. If I compare that to our second goal, where a throw-in goes to a striker on the byline with two defenders round about him, and he wriggles through them, and from the corner of the 6-yard box gets a shot across the goalie. And I mean, to me, if we flip it around and say how would we have treated that as a Hibs goal, I mean, there would have been so much blood on the carpet from the Hibs fans. And I think that's sometimes what we've got to remember, is that football is a game of little chances, little bits of luck, lots of skill. I mean, as Ian says, you can teach people lots of skills. You can give them the experience of the moment and what they can do. But Bowie's goal was a striker's goal. He bullied his way through and got a good connection on the ball. Boyle's goal is a defensive screw-up. The wall splits and the goalie doesn't get across. But you take that because that's how football isn't the perfect game. I mean, Wayne Rooney's overhead kick in the Manchester derby that was shown to be a shin hit. I mean, because they slowed the pictures down and showed that he hadn't actually kicked it. Football, it's full of little luck things. But no, I think that I was disappointed with 2-2. I think I made the point about I was more disappointed with the miss afterwards for 3-2. That wasn't a get at Campbell or anything like this. I mean, it was more the idea that having done well to get back into the game, had that chance 14 yards out, you're looking for it to hit the target. And the underside of the bar isn't the target.
Yeah.
I mean, and that would be my only criticism's the wrong word. That disappointment that it could have been 3-2, and it becomes a whole different conversation. And I think that's where we need to get to with the games. I'm not going on Sunday. £30 has just been a bit too rich with all the money that's been going out recently. But a result there just gives us a bit of comfort space for the squad to gel. But no.
Okay, Ian, you come.
Yeah, it was my last game on Hibs TV in France, and it's a bit strange for me not being at the game. But like Colin, I was pretty positive at the end of it, because I didn't see the Celtic game because Hibs TV didn't show it. I couldn't see it at all. But it was good goals against Dundee. Very encouraged I was, and very positive at the end. I couldn't believe the booing at half time. I just couldn't believe it. And to me, Simon Murray is one of the smartest strikers in the Scottish game. But it's very interesting. Horace, I think he looks good, but certainly, and I know it's irrelevant, but Paul Hanlon would not have made that mistake. He would not have been the wrong side of Simon Murray. In terms of substitution, it was very interesting because Joel Murray was, she was commenting on Hibs TV, and right away, as soon as David made the substitution, Joel said it was a mistake because Hibs will start playing too deep. It was very interesting. I mean, if you can be bothered watching it again, you'll hear her saying that right away. And it's funny because one of the few really, really, really bad mistakes I made when I was coaching was to do exactly that. So we were all over them, the opposition team, and we were up. But then for some, I think we got a man injured or something like that. But we should have kept attacking and putting the pressure on them. And as soon as we took, as soon as you take a forward off, you're just saying, come on to us, you know. I didn't see Quan doing anything. And I don't know if it was you, Matty, on the Hibs Observer, who said he was doing a stopping job on McKinnon. So I don't know if that's what he was doing, but I didn't really see him doing anything. Overall, I'm very disappointed about Owen Bevan. That's probably the most disappointing thing on the transfer side. But it's quite funny because we normally, for years, I mean, I've been a Hibs supporter my whole life, but basically we normally start the season well and we drop off. And as we got poorer over the years, we used to, first we used to drop off in March, but then, of course, we started dropping off at Christmas. But now it's the absolute opposite. We're starting not very well, and we're actually going to get better. So it's kind of counterculture.
I'm glad that's where you went with it. It was like we've gone dropping off in March to January to December. Now we're dropping off in August.
No, we're going to get
right,
better.
We're just going another way. Right, we're improving. Right, we'll take that definitely.
Yeah. But what James said there, I agree with that. But it was quite interesting because David Gray said he didn't want to play a certain system in all games. He would play each game to actually win the game, and I'd like to see a big difference between the way we play against Celtic and the way we play against Dundee. And the last thing I wanted to bring up was just what Lee said. I just wondered if we can have a follow-up with Lee, because Lee said that he saw Miko playing with Bowie, sort of being able to lay off goals for Bowie. I just wondered if that's how Lee saw the two of them playing together. Thanks, Mike.
Lee, over to you.
Yeah, that's kind of our thought, like, because Miko and Bowie, because you've got Miko, who's a big striker, who can take the ball down, and then you've got Bowie, who's a goal scorer. So that's why I was kind of thinking that they would be good up top, the two of them together.
We'll have if we've got time, we'll have a wee chat about the sort of makeup of the squad, because obviously we've got the last day of the transfer window tomorrow, so we'll touch on that. James, you get your hand up, so I'll come at you, and then what we'll do is we'll have a wee quick chat about Elie Youan, and then we will talk about the squad.
Yeah, it's just a very quick question for those that watched the second goal we conceded on TV. Could Ahura just take a step back and cut it out? I don't know how far away he was from, because I watch the game live. I don't spend too much time on TV when it's a sort of negative results. I just know if MD could say, could have just, like he says, Hanlon probably would have cut it out. It was left foot. That's kind of what he'd do. But could Ahura just stepped in and just cut it out, the touch around back?
No, it was too late. It was too late. Yeah.
Very enough. All right, cool. That was it.
Okay, right. I suppose that you can raise your hand if you want to be the first one to come in on this one to get the ball rolling. So there's Elie Youan is featured across social media sort of throughout today. Initially, there was folk kind of a bit upset that he'd removed traces of Hibs from his Instagram, and then Elie posted a screenshot of an abhorrent message that they got racist abuse again from what looks like a fairly young Hibs fan, but I just haven't brought it into focus again that we still have an element of support with this as an issue. It seems ridiculous that we're in 2024 and we're still having to have these conversations. So how do Hibs go about addressing it? Do you have any thoughts on what Hibs can do to support the players and eradicate this sort of behaviour?
I'll take it.
I'll dive in. Go for it, James.
I don't know if there's a way we can self-police. I mean, there is a bit of that already. I mean, Hibs fans, basically, it's a community. We know a lot of people. I don't know if they can maybe extend that to maybe opening. Shouldn't even have to do this, like a telephone line where you can anonymously say, "This is what happened to this person. This is who said it," and it gets investigated. I mean, I don't say that person that's taken his goal, but they can investigate it. And if they're found to be doing it, just get them to fuck away from our club. I mean, some of the tweets replying to other tweets is just showing the shocking standard of some of our fans. I mean, I know I've put my foot in it a couple of times, so I've been there and I've apologised for it. But when you see some of the comments on social media, they think they can get away with it. It's just horrendous. I mean, I'd like to maybe say that the positive tweets that have gone out have been good. There's been plenty of that support from Rocky, from ex-players, from players that don't even get anything to do with Hibs, backing them. But I just wish people would just grow the fuck up. Excuse my French, but it's just, I just say it's abhorrent.
Yeah. JC, you get a hand up.
Yeah, I thought it was really sad today that, again, it's Elie that's getting attacked. Obviously, I had quite a good relationship with Elie when I was at Hibs. He's such a great lad, very much a family boy as well. You know, loves his family. And just to see that somebody, I just feel we've gone backwards in society at the moment. It's just with everything. Even there was a female player had posted about her wife and like the abuse she got. So racism, you know, homophobia, everything just seems to be going backwards in society at the moment. I just don't know what's going on. But for that lad, not only is it the abuse that he gets, I mean, the one that he posted the other week, to get that constantly. Now, if he doesn't get his move, how does he even perform for us? because that's, I mean, his mental health and well-being's got to be priority for the club. They've got a duty of care. And okay, they put a statement out today. Where was the statement when he was getting the abuse? Yet we can have Malcolm McPherson putting a statement out about Ben Kinsell. We've got people getting their accounts monitored because they've put out stuff or commented on Paul Hanlon, Lewis Stevenson's family not getting hospitality monitoring accounts because of stuff that they've put out about Ben. And rightly so, like, obviously the Ben stuff, the personal abuse he got, that's not acceptable either. But you can't just do it for senior management at the club. Your players are your biggest assets. You've spent all that money on them. Why are you not protecting them? So if you can do the same for board members and CEOs, you've got to do it for your players. And if you're not doing it for your players, then I just don't know where we're at. I just feel we've kind of lost a bit of our identity as a club and our values. Yes, it was good the statement came out today, but it kind of felt like a tick box exercise.
John, thanks, Jason. John, what about you?
I'll be slightly circumspect in what I'm saying, but if we don't think that this has been going on in the background, unreported by the club, I mean, where we've had players who have been racially abused over the years, even when they're on loan elsewhere, that we don't have black players who've played for the club in the past who find themselves, I mean, the victim of racial abuse simply because of the colour of their skin, that we don't have people who get sectarian abuse simply because of the club that they follow. I mean, and lots of these things are done through the police in the correct manner in the background, but they don't make the headlines. I mean, what's causing the upset amongst the fans who are pushing back towards Elie is that he's actually sticking it out there. I mean, I think that what we have to realise as a support is that there are, when you've got 10,000 people in a stadium, I mean, you're going to have people in there that you wouldn't share a pint with in the pub. I mean, whose views and thoughts on the world aren't going to be the same as yours.
Yeah.
I think the club have got to be really, really clear. I've seen the redemption arc. The redemption arc only starts when you've accepted there's a problem. I mean, people have the option. I think Schwarzenegger's very, very good at it, but he turns around and saying sometimes when people have made a really abusive remark towards him, is that they now have a choice as to where they go in life.
Mm.
I mean, you've done wrong. You have shown yourself to be completely wrong. How do you go from now? What are you going to do to change the direction? Because you've got a fork in the road. I mean, but as a fan base, I think first off we have to realise that it's there. I mean, we have a big enough fan base that there will be enough people. I've spoken to Malady, and younger people have a bit of a playground attitude. No, playground's the wrong way. That makes it, you know, and all things go in terms of social media. If you're there and it comes at you, then you're there. You know what I mean? So that's just it. That can't be it. I mean, the club have to be much more proactive. The racism side really gets to me because we all start 3-0 up to a black person. I mean, they have to go right down the street with the colour of their skin and they're abused simply because of the colour of skin without any thought. We can walk down the street and unless we've got a hip strip on, we're not going to just attract, I mean, a level of abuse.
Yeah,
And that's probably the only
100%.
time we get close to understanding it. Sorry, I'm just trying not to get overly riled here. As a support, yeah, we call it out. As a support, we give the support we can to Elie and his family. I mean, a man who normally through his Instagram is talking about his Christian beliefs and the love of his family and his wee baby. I mean, the human behind there has to be looked at and be supported.
100%. Jeff, we'll come to you next.
Yeah, Matty, just an idea. Maybe it's such a complex subject that perhaps it would be good to have a podcast on its own with maybe some invited guests because it's a societal thing. We're not the only fan base with racists. Social media makes it so easy. I'm told that perhaps the guy or the boy today is about 14 years old, I believe, to be potentially 14,
I don't know.
15.
Yeah, I don't know, mate.
I've read a post somewhere. If that's the case, that's learned behaviour from his mother, father, uncles, people, his social group. I don't know. You don't turn into a racist at 14. You know, it's something you've learned. he's not watching Love Thy Neighbour or the Black and White Minstrels or on the buses like we used to. Perhaps it was a bit more of a problem. So maybe another pod, and maybe if Ellie's still with us on Friday, which is a chance, I'm told, then perhaps we as a fan base at Kilmarnock, I'll be there, can maybe show him a bit of love. Even if he's not in the squad, just a bit of chanting. Anyway, I do think it's a bigger problem how we police it. Not to overreact, but the club could certainly do more. I don't know what procedures they've got in place when this happens. What it kicks in, post comes on, right? What does that trigger with the club? Just a bland statement, or is there stuff going on behind the background? Maybe what somebody from the club could explain how they're wrapping an arm around predominantly the black players. And God forbid anybody turns out to be gay in the club, because that would just be another whole shitstorm for the homophobes out there. So just an idea. That was all I wanted to say. That it's too complex a subject to go into,
of course,
the service.
Yeah, of course. Ian?
The only time I've experienced racism in football was when I lived in Dunfermline. I went to the Dunfermline game. I was at Swansea when I worked down in Swansea and experienced it there. And then when I was at Swindon, I went to a Swindon game. And in each case, I spoke up. And I was absolutely horrified when that happened against Yandanda at Ross County. I was absolutely horrified at that because I couldn't believe that one of our supporters would do that. I'm reasonably involved in anti-racism stuff via my union. I'm in Unite. And we're taking our banner to our union banner, retired members banner, to stand up to racism in Glasgow next Saturday. And obviously, we're not going to get next Saturday. So if we as supporters, and I like Jeff's idea of the supporters taking responsibility for this. So if we as supporters wanted to do something that very public, then all we would need is a banner, go to Glasgow and be at the rally with other people with a Hibs banner. So that would be something we could do.
It's definitely a case of being public in your condemnation of it, and also public in your support of the players. It is important that as you say, you sort of wrap your arms around the players and say like they are part of the Hibs family as much as anything. If somebody has somebody attacks them, then they attack us all. Shay, when you come, mate.
I'm with I'm going to back up John's point as well of being like, how's he going to feel walking down the street and for probably the rest of his career? In terms of what if he walks past a fan? I think the first thought he could think of is he might get racially abused, and now that could give him more of a reason to leave now because all summer he's been rumoured to leave Hibs, so that could give him be like the push to say to Hibs, right, I want to move. Which is unfortunate because I'd love him to stay because he's a really good player. But at the same time, I don't think he'd want to be at a club where he will worry that one step wrong and he could get abused like that again. And it could be more than just like the one or two people that has abused him in the last sort of few weeks. It could be like the Euros when Saka and Rashford missed the penalty. It could be like just floods of messages. So I just think he's going to feel that like he could be living constant fear now because that's all he's getting from people that support the club that he plays for.
It's disgusting, isn't it? Like to think that someone has to kind of go through that. Tracy.
Yeah, I was just going to say lots of really good ideas there. I think as Scottish football as a whole really needs to step up and do something. We've got all this show racism, the red card, but holding up a card at a match isn't really doing anything. Taking the knee hasn't had much success. So, where do we go from here? What can we do for Scottish football as a whole? We've got all the sectarianism as well. And I just think the saddest part is that these players will sit and go, I'm fine, I'm used to it. And that's the saddest part because they shouldn't have to be used to it. At the end of the day, we're all human beings.
Aye, and we saw a message come in sort of asking why is not share the positive ones, and like you don't know, like it only takes one message like that to come through. That's the one that hits you. It's not the 10 that come through saying, "Oh, you're a great player and we love you." Those ones they're nice to receive and everything, but as soon as you get something like, I mean, I'm fortunate, like I'm a white male, like the amount of stuff that would get thrown at me for who I am is fucking minimal, but to have something come through like that over something you've no control of, that holds way more weight when you receive it, I would imagine, than 10, 20, 50 supportive messages. I think the only real sort of it's not a positive from it, but it has been nice to see the reaction from the huge majority of Hibs fans on the back of it, condemning the wee racist and backing Elie. And I think that's more reflective of the Hibs support than the one idiot. And I hope folk continue to sort of shout about it and make noise and shout down the idiots. Right, let's get back to Hibs. We've only got like 5 minutes or so left. Last day of the transfer window tomorrow. Jack, I'll give you the floor first, mate. 1 day left. What do you want to see happen?
Well, I know that Dundee are still considering the Luke McCowan bid, but I don't know what the plan is with that, and we need to bring more defenders in to try and strengthen that defence a wee bit, possibly a centre half and left back.
And how likely do you think it is, mate? Do you think we're going to see a lot of movement tomorrow?
I don't know. It's been pretty quiet most of this week, which is a bit worrying. I thought there would have been maybe some movement this week, but not heard much.
I think we did have Owen Bevan lined up, didn't we, until his injury sort of ruled him out. So do you think that's an indication that Hibs are still looking at a defender?
Possibly. I would have thought so. I don't think we'll give up that easy.
If we sign nobody tomorrow and nobody left, where do you think we would finish, Jack? If we sign nobody, so nobody else came in, but nobody else left, where do we finish?
Probably lower than fifth now if we do sign anybody else.
All right. Fair dues. Lee, what are you hoping to see tomorrow, mate, with the transfer window?
Hoping to see if we can get the Luke McGowan deal done, but it's been pretty quiet this week about what's going to happen with him because I've not heard much, but it'd be good to get maybe another centre half in to tighten up the defence to help them a bit. And then there might be rumours that Rocky was leaving, but I don't think that'll happen.
So a bit of chat, but how do you think the squad is shaping up, Lee?
It's not. I think we need just a couple of more players in, and I think we might get there.
And I suppose I'll ask you the same question I asked Jack. If we went into the rest of the season with the squad that we have today, where do you think we would end up?
Probably about fifth or sixth. Probably still in the top six. Hopefully,
We'd take that. It's a progress for last season, isn't it?
Yeah.
Colin, what about you? What are you hoping or expecting to see tomorrow?
To be honest, probably not much. I would hope, to be honest, that we get rid of a few midfielders. So maybe Amos, maybe Jake Hayes, maybe Jair, maybe Kenna. There's a lot of dead wood. To be honest, I think the squad looks in good shape. I think up top, in the middle, at the back. I mean, people talking about bringing in defenders to shore it up. I can't see that at any time. And I think the midfield is enough of a blend. If you want to play like two wide men, or you want to kind of play five, if you want to play one up front or two up front, I think there's plenty there. I think the squad's good enough to get third, fourth if he's given time. I think Bowie. You know what? I'm thinking when you've been talking about Bowie. You know what he looks like? He looks like a jumbo striker. Right? I mean that in a good way.
I know what you mean.
They have that, they sign these players, these, bastard forwards who will just cruise you out and get it. And we've not had a jumbo striker for a long time. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what that goal he scored against Dundee, I was like, yes, get in. Because, Benty would never have scored that. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I think Deutsch could have, but he's maybe not quick enough. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But I think I'd be happy with the squad. What if I was going to say one side, I'd love a left field, like a total. I'd love like a 32-year-old, like guy who's got like 54 caps for Romania or something like that. You know,
Amazing.
something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you just wouldn't know.
All on board
And
with
I'm
that.
like, I would love that. Like I'm a Rav chick. Do you know what I mean? Like just something. But they didn't happen anymore. So I'll stop talking. I'll let someone else finish it.
I would. But one of my I was going to say my favourite moments on Saturday wasn't because I liked the goals better, but there was a moment where Bowie had just run into the box and we were waiting on a cross coming in, and he just pretty much grabbed the Dundee defender, just chucked him on the ground, and then ran away from him again. Like the defender was lying, it's going, the fuck has just happened to me here? And I think the linesman maybe clocked it because the referee pulled it back for a free kick, but he almost got away with it, and it was good just to see like a Hibs play with that sort of. I'm just going to chuck a boy about, no bother. James, what about you? How are you feeling about the squad, and what would you like to see tomorrow?
Before a funny moment from Saturday as well, just triggered me there when I think Dundee made a sub and McCowan got a wee piece of paper, kind of scrumpled it up, threw it to the side. Boiler went over and picked it up and read it, and actually told our midfielders what was on it and what to do right in front of the East. I thought that was quite funny.
I'm not believing Martin Boyle can read. Come on.
No, I think it had to. I think it's a 2-year contract. Maybe that's what he was saying. Fantasy wise, I think we still need a few players. It's out and out first team players, midfield, pace down the wings. I think we're lacking. I like fast attacking football, so I would need pace. The back up to Boyle, back up to Youan. Somebody can play both wings, a centre mid, and just some support and defence. It sounds horrible because that sounds like half the bloody team again.
Your end of last season, coming into this season, prediction was relegation with the squad that we had. Have you? Has the dial moved from that point?
It was moved last week to top 6, but it's moved slightly back down again. If no more signings come in, I fear for the midfield. It's going to take time to gel, so we are going to be behind the curve. If I say it's the end of October, that's almost the first 11 games. But I said that way, any manager, they need time to gel, get it all together. I think if it stays the way as it is just now, I think we'll struggle with top 6. I just hope we do better. I mean, I don't want us just struggling. I want us finishing second, third, just giving it everything. But then reality kicks in and you just take a step back and go, oh shit.
Well, we'll see what happens. Ian?
James is miserable. So a jumbo striker, that's incredible.
At least I didn't say that. Come on.
I know you didn't say that, but I mean it's quite an interesting introduction, isn't it? I would love it if we'd got Owen Bevan, but the fact that we didn't, I would much rather Owen Calder came up. I want to see young players coming through. If we get Luke McCowan, I'd be delighted. But I think we've got a good squad. I'm pretty comfortable with it, and we've got to have space to allow people like Josh Landers to come through. So as far as the season ahead is concerned, I'm pretty comfortable with the squad we've got. And we've got to have space for young players to come through. The under-18 so far are playing well, and the women's team are playing really well. So we've got to leave some space in case we want to bring in someone from the women's team as well.
Tracy, how are you feeling about the squad? What's still needed?
I know we've got quite a lot of midfielders, but it does kind of feel that we need something a little bit different in there because I think we've got too many that are alike. Obviously, I think with Kwong coming in now as well, I think that'll help Joe. Obviously, it's the first game they played together against Dundee, but I do think it will help him going forward. I think it will give him a lot more freedom as well, and I think we'll see the Joe Newell that we all love and expect, because I do think I kind of agree with what Marvin said. I think he probably does too much, but a lot of people probably don't see that during the game and just would rather call him out for being this, that and the next thing than praise him. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like Ian, I'm quite, if we don't sign anyone, I have a feeling that we'll sign 2. I don't know anything before anybody says got inside knowledge. Don't know anything, but I've got a feeling we might sign 2 tomorrow. I think there'll be maybe one early evening, one like right at the end. My concern is Bill Foley's comments. Has that caused divide in the boardroom? Are we, why aren't we utilising that connection in the group more? Surely there must be somebody that's suitable for us. So yeah, I just feel that maybe connections, maybe not as solid as it
Yeah.
could.
Well, I'm told, and I don't know how reliable the information is, but I'm told relationships are good. And Malky is in fairly regular dialogue with his counterparts at Bournemouth. So I've got a wee feeling we might see a couple in for him tomorrow. But
It's just strange we haven't seen them already.
I know. I think obviously the plan was to get Bevan up, which who would have been one of them. But I don't know. I've not heard who else might come up, if anybody. But I suppose we'll find out tomorrow. James, you got your hand up, and then Shay, I'll come at you after James.
Yeah, just quickly, I made the mistake of trying to watch the Bournemouth game last night against West Ham, and they were talking about some kid called Jefferson that plays up front, and he's definitely going out on loan. I perked up at that point because he's a £20 million player. I'm like, ooh, obviously not coming to us, but it's just terrible that these things actually grab your attention now. But no inside nose, no in the know, nothing like that. Just it was quite fun. Just watched that dreadful game.
We might get a £20 million striker.
I can dream, can't I? Then it might be positive next week if I do. I promise you.
There's still time. I'm sure if everyone can try and find contact details for, I was going to say Bill and Ben, which isn't good to get the two parties together. We're looking at fucking hell, our hopes are in Bill and Ben's hands.
No, you've done it, yeah.
Bill Foley and Ben Kensler, if we can all canvass them and just get you bang your heads together and get us a £20 million striker up. Shay, what are you expecting tomorrow, mate?
I'm expecting 3-2 Hibs. Kidding. But I'm not sure, to be honest. I think something to improve the squad in terms of numbers. I think midfield is a big one, and maybe another centre half. Because I'm thinking more injuries, because all it takes for one, like a centre position that we really need. So like centre half, where we've only got 3 out and out centre backs. Like if Ekatela or O'Hora gets injured, then we've not really got a centre half in unless we bring one through for the academy. Don't mind that. I'm all for bringing for the academy, but also didn't like an experienced one.
Yeah.
At the same time, so he has played minutes, and he knows how so it's not like coming in. He'll maybe still have the expectancy to perform, but it's with like a 16, 17, 18-year-old lad to come out, right, you need to play against like Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, like that because someone's injured. Whereas someone who's maybe played like similar sort of games at pubs that they're at now. So we'll see what happens, but
all right.
I'm looking forward to it. I can see us signing a couple of players.
It should be an exciting day tomorrow. Anyway, John, what are your thoughts?
I think it'll be as important as to who we're getting out the building. I mean, Bevan was a left centre back, so you'd imagine if he's not there, then they'll be looking for somebody else for that position. McCowan is a buzz about midfielder. If that doesn't come through, then you're expecting them to try and fill that position as well. If Elie goes, then you're expecting them to fill there. I think it's trying to make sure there's not a problem at the training centre where we've got just too many first team squad players there. Where, I mean, Del Ferry, Jai Tavares, Jake Doyle-Hayes, potentially McCurdy. I mean, depending. It's that sort of idea where it feels as if in order to get the training running right, it's no good having 25 there. I mean, others have done more coaching than me, but you're only looking to have 18 players on the pitch for a lot of the training stuff that you're going to do. Get beyond that, and it's just too many. So I think it'll be as important, and let's do it properly. I mean, we asked them to sign the contracts. They're not wage thieves. It's maybe not worked out, but let's have anybody does move on. People try and put the social media skills to nice tomorrow.
Aye, good shout. And Jeff, you're gonna the last say on the squad, and then we'll do a quick round the table, get a prediction for Sunday against Kelly. But if you start off with your thoughts on the squad and what we need.
I just had a quick look at the outgoings. Guess how many players have left Hibs this season? Just quickly.
13.
31.
What?
We were
That's
21.
That's
21
what I mean.
out.
I just muddled my numbers around.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Maybe my figures are bad. 21 out. Anyway, whatever. We've had a lot out. Yeah, we've had 9 in, and Hearts have had 11 in. Anyway, enough of that. What I think is going to happen tomorrow, I think there'll be about. It depends on Elie, I think, and some talk about Rocky. That might push out. If there's no movement on Elie, then I reckon another 3 will come in. Centre half. Luke McCowan, everyone's saying he's a buzz-about midfielder. If you watch the game on Saturday, he absolutely linked to play from the back. Something that Joe Newell doesn't do. He got the ball, played a little 1-2, and he was up in our box within about 10 seconds later. He's at the other end of the park, still linking play. That's what we lack. So he'd be a cracking signing or somebody like him. So we'll see. Yeah, I reckon about 3. Another centre half would be good. McCowan, if he comes, or somebody similar. Are we still short up front with just Miko and Bowie? Because Bowie's not an out-and-out centre forward, although he likes to play through the middle. Do we need some more cover there? I don't know. That would be a wish list. I'm happy with what we've got at the moment, though. But if Elie stays, fantastic. I think that'll just be the icing on the cake.
Okay, and score on Sunday. How many goals are Hibs? I think this is how it goes now, isn't it? How many goals are Hibs winning by on Sunday?
I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0 Hibs. Right, John. Score prediction Sunday?
1-0 Hibs.
Right, good. Right, so 2 for 2 for the wins for the Hibs so far. Colin?
I'll go 6-0.
Superb.
For Longbangers.
Yes. Yes.
Tradition of completely divorced from reality, but I'll go 6-0. Aye.
Yes. I'm all in on that one. Ian?
I'll use my 10 seconds as a confession. I would like people to go back and look at the BBC player ratings for the end of last season. And for about the last 8 games, I found a way of deleting my cookies and repeatedly voting for Lewis Stevenson. So have a look at it and see if there's any games that Lewis Stevenson played 2 minutes on and he came out top. That was me at work.
Brilliant. And how have you got the time to do stuff like this, Ian?
I do it walking away from the game. I was doing it, and I get on the 2016 bus and I sit and do that.
Right, and what's the score going to be on Sunday?
3-1 to us.
Excellent. Right, Tracy?
I'm going to go 4-0. Stuff it.
Outstanding. Yes, right, we're absolutely flying.
2 from Bowie, 1 for Miko, and stuff it. Let's have Joe as a scorer as well.
Well, he scored at Rugby Park last season, so he could lightning can strike
and it was
twice.
a good one as well.
It was. Jack, score for Sunday, please.
I want to go with a 6-0, actually.
Oh,
I was tempted to say 7, but I'm not going that far.
Have you guys watched Hibs this season? It's like, right, 6-7, I'm taking it. Right, it's fine. Lee, have you got a realistic prediction for us? Are you going all out?
I'm going 2-0. Bowie and I'd say Endo to score.
Nice one. Right, we'll take that. Shay?
Tim, what, that'd be one of the outrageous ones. I'd just say we're going to win 8-0 Hibs, so I'll just be away that second. So it's going to be another 2-1 or something like that.
Sounds alright.
But I think it'll be 3-0 Hibs.
Yes.
We've all been drinking tonight.
I think so.
Right, James, last prediction to you.
Elie Youan's come on late sub. Back for fitness. 3-0 Hibs. There you go. You're going to score
Oh,
a ball. Elie Youan hat trick.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for tuning in, folks. Thanks everybody for coming on, especially I was going to say especially, but not as special, but as a special mention to Lee and Colin first night on the podcast tonight. But thank you also to all the returning guys as well. Pleasure having you all on, and we'll hope to see you again next week. We'll be back on Sunday with our normal episodes. Any talking points you've got after the game, do tweet us, and don't forget to find us on